Hi all, welcome to ShyteTV. So last month I did a poll on Instagram for people to vote which film sounds the funniest to review next, and surprisingly the amazing Mr. No Legs won. So without further ado, let's check it out and see what the internet says. The amazing Mr. No Legs. Heads roll as two cops, Chuck and Andy, go against Mr. D'Angelo, the biggest drug dealer in Florida, and his ruthless enforcer Fred, who has no legs, but he does have two mean double-barrel shotguns built into his wheelchair. It was released in 1978, running time 1 hour 30 minutes, and IMDb has given it a rating of 4.9 out of 10. Mr. fucking No Legs. So the film kicks off and you see a guy making cigars in a factory, and some greasy tash-wearing codger comes in, and you can clearly see they're smuggling drugs by hiding the drugs in the cigars. We then see two coppers bust some druggies making a drug deal down by the docks, and I should point out this film is also known as The Gunfighter. You get to see some really shitty fighting going off while the intro credits roll, and then the copper arrests all the druggies. So it then shows the greasy codger and co loading cigars onto a truck in a warehouse, and Mr. fucking No Legs turns up in his wheelchair and has two double-barrel shotties concealed in the armrests of his chair. He catches two shady scrubbers with some drugs and blasts them one, and pockets the drugs.
Think you suspected anything? No. Evening, gentlemen. Planning on starting your own operation here?
He bribes a copper that turns up and scarpers sharpish.
They tried to rip us off. You better get out of here fast.
We then see a party going off at some posh house, and Mr. No Legs turns up and Mr. D'Angelo meets him at the car, and it's clear that No Legs works for him.
You're late.
I must add that the sound mix in this film is absolutely ghastly at times, so apologies if you can't make out what half these people are saying. So the guy Ken, who you saw making the pills at the cigar factory at the beginning, he comes home and his missus found some of the drugs that he was selling, and he gets quite miffed about it.
Wait, I can explain. I'm a really heavy baby, you know?
Well, it's a heavy scene. Too heavy for me.
Can't leave.
She then tries to leave, but they have a struggle, and she falls and bangs her head and dies. He calls up the greasy codger Lou, and Lou and Mr. No Legs turns up, presumably to make the body disappear.
Where's she from?
Not far from here.
Any relatives?
But Ken mentions the dead girl's brother is a cop, and Mr. No Leg clenches his fist for some fucking reason.
Brother.
He's a cop.
Lou injects the dead girl Tina with some drugs to make it look like she's OD'd, and they move her body to some grassy area. Mr. No Legs then shoots Ken, and Lou loads him into the truck.
Put him in the trunk.
We then see some police in the morgue talking about how to break the death of Tina to her brother Andy, who is also a police officer.
Would you like me to break it?
And Andy turns up and sees Tina dead.
Thanks, Chuck.
Check out the reaction here. Now that is what you call grief. Andy goes to a bar to drink away the pain, and while a band plays, a girl turns up and takes him back to a fucking weird house with the fluffiest carpets I've ever seen.
Take care.
One of the cops, Chuck, finds Tina's mail has been forwarded to Ken's house, so goes to investigate in the coolest orange cop car I've ever seen. The landlady lets Chuck in and he searches Ken's house.
Oh my! Oh, there must have been a fight.
Either that or quite a party.
We're back at D'Angelo's house with him and Mr. No Legs. No Legs tells D'Angelo he killed Ken, which D'Angelo isn't too happy about. And No Legs storms off brewing some sort of plan against D'Angelo. We then see No Legs in a bar as Chuck and Andy turn up outside the bar to meet his informant. A fight breaks out between two women. Andy then comes into the bar during all the chaos, and Chuck follows after, seeing all the people fleeing the bar. Andy batters the fuck out of everyone, only to find out his informant got shanked and died.
You just lost her.
We better call in the white caps.
It then shows No Legs doing some push-up poolside at D'Angelo's place and gets a call from Lou saying the police found Ken's body.
Lost, babe. Hello.
Lou.
Where in the hell's Wilson's body?
Listen, I did exactly what you told me, but it ain't there. Well, of course I remember where I dumped him.
Well, then what happened?
Well, they must have found the body.
Shit.
Lou pretends to be an ambulance driver to collect Ken's corpse from the morgue. The mortician starts getting shitty with them, so they restrain him and take the corpse by force. But Andy and Chuck turn up and a struggle ensues before Lou and his goon flee.
Too long. I called him about half an hour ago.
What the hell?
Excuse me, nurse, where can we find Charlie?
I think he's in the morgue.
Thank you.
Andy then gets a call from Sweaty Sammy, who is being forced at knife point to arrange a meeting by No Legs and Lou. Once the call ends, Sammy gets stabbed.
Right now, at the 7 Seas.
I thought they were closed.
Listen, the front door will be open.
Okay, I'm on my way.
He'll be waiting.
That was very good.
Andy turns up at the bar, only to be ambushed by Lou and No Legs. Lou gets shot by No Legs unintentionally, and Lou's goon starts attacking Andy's car with a broadsword, but after some shitty fight, the goon falls on his own sword and passes away. Andy tells Chuck about No Legs and that Captain Hathaway is the leak in the police force.
Yeah, a guy with no legs.
Wait a minute. One of D'Angelo's enforcers lost his legs a couple of years ago, didn't he? What about it?
Tried to blow my head off. He tried to set me up. Are you trying to say that Hassel would take?
I told you wouldn't like it.
You're wrong about Hath.
I sure hope I am, but we gotta find out for sure, Andy.
Back at D'Angelo's again, a lot of schemes are going off for D'Angelo to kill No Legs and vice
I told his
versa.
friend the cop wanted to see him over there right away.
What's he gonna do when the cop doesn't show up?
Oh, he'll be there too. I decided to kill two birds with one stone.
We then see D'Angelo at the cigar factory and Captain Hathaway turns up, followed by Andy and Chuck. No Legs guns down D'Angelo, then Hathaway guns down No Legs. Chuck and Andy then chase Hathaway as he escapes in a high-speed pursuit in Chuck and Andy's Orange Demon while they take his golden shitbox of a car.
Unit 980, 1033 traffic.
This chase scene goes on for fucking ages, with lots of patrol cars getting wrecked as they chase Hathaway. As always, no chase scene would be complete without a car smashing through a random wall of empty boxes, then some perfectly placed ice blocks, before smashing into a patrol car and coming to a halt. Chuck and Andy find Hathaway in a vehicle covered in some unconvincing blood, and then the old rat pops his clogs from his injuries. Yay! Like most 70s films, the film just ends and that's your lot. Right then, glad that's all over. Let's see what the Baron of Baldness Jamie thinks of that load of old cobblers.
I hate this film just because of how old it is and how the quality is. Another reason I hate this film is the conversations between the actors. The camera angle is absolutely atrocious. You've literally got an entire screen full of face, that's all it is. I just couldn't get past the terribleness of the cameraman or the entire film. Now, the three scenes that I'm going to break down are the bar fight, the pool scene, and the ending. Now, I know Shaun has touched on the pool scene and the bar scene because those are two of the most iconic moments in this film. I don't know if he's touched on the chase at the end, but we're certainly going to. Now, the bar fight for me is just bad, but it's funny. And it's funny in the sense of it's funny in the sense of I was actually laughing during the fight. It's that bad. We're going to play a clip of some of the fight here. Yep, she was supposed to be getting choked with that phone cord. It just doesn't make sense. But that entire fight is like that, to be fair. The second is the pool fight. Now, it's a guy in a wheelchair with no legs beating the living daylights out of people. What's not to enjoy about that? It's funny because you find a guy with no legs out of his wheelchair. He's not using the shotguns. And they're still losing because of movie. Now, the third scene for me is good, but it's bad. But it's bad, but it's good. And it shouldn't have even existed in the film, I don't think. Which is the 15-minute car chase at the end of the film. For it to end with a crash. I just don't get why they had it all filmed how they did. Like, save some budget on cars. Or they were like, oh, we bought these cars now, we may as well just wreck them. and I didn't like it. I think that they should have shot him when he shot Mr. No Legs, and it would have just ended the film there. That is my opinion on why this film is a B movie and why it is such an iconic B movie. Because if somebody doesn't understand what a B movie is, just put them this on. Like, they will be laughing at the bar fight, they will be laughing at the pool fight, and they'll be asking the question, what's the point of this chase? That's the kind of movie it is, and that's why it's so good. Did I say good? I meant bad. Thank you for watching, guys.
Thanks for that, Jamie. Thank you to everybody else who sat through this video. It's almost made it worthwhile reviewing this bollocks. Let's rate The Amazing Mr. No Legs. Story, 2 out of 5. Story was easy to follow, nothing too complex, just enough to hold it all together. Action, 2 out of 5. I would have given this a 1, but the chase scene adds an extra point and you get to see some no-legged kung fu, which was nice. Nudity, 0 out of 5. Nobody in this film got naked and I'm quite happy about it. Almost everybody in the film is ugly for a start. Overall, 2 out of 5. Some funny moments like the bar scene and the no-legged kung fu. I think they just wanted to make a film of a man with no legs, really. He's not even the main character. And even if you go by the other title, Gunfighter, that don't make sense either. He had 2 shotguns, he probably used them twice. No. Not a great one, this. Basically, don't bother watching it unless you fancy a laugh or you want to see some no-legged kung fu if that's your thing. This film just didn't have legs. That's it from me. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you want to see more, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.